Hey folks, Nos here with a new Pax Day update. So this week we've gotten a couple little updates from Mainframe themselves, talking about a couple things. I know verse 5 is all on our minds as we're waiting for that information and what all's going to be in it coming down. So we'll hit everything in chronological order. So first things first, some plot management changes here. So what they're planning on doing here, and I'm going to just kind of briefly discuss this a little bit. Uh, there's been a lot of talk about how you can keep your subs going, keep your plot tokens, and keep your plots live and stuff without having to buy a sub. Um, a lot of people are opposed to the idea of having to purchase a subscription to keep their plot tokens coming and stuff. So one of the things that they're planning on doing, and we're going to be testing it out on the Arcadia test server this month, is going to be earning plots with grace. We'll read into it a little bit here and explain how it's going to work. You will, you get, if you don't have the subscription thing going on, you get 10 grace per day every time you log in. So theoretically, in a month, you'd have 300 grace. If you do have the sub going, that's 15 a day, so 450 a month. So what they're planning on doing is, using grace, and you can buy, of course, you can buy more grace with gold. You can spend 400 grace to claim a grace plot, which is valid for 1 month. You can only have one grace plot. So all you go-getters, sorry, you're just going to have to be, you're only going to be able to keep that one plot. Auto renewal is disabled for those plots. However, you can spend 400 additional grace to extend the grace plot if its remaining duration is less than 1 month. You can also use a token to extend its duration. In that case, once the first month of your plot acquired with grace is over, it'll become a standard plot. If you don't own a grace plot, you can also extend the duration of an existing plot claimed with regular plot token using grace. Then basically that plot becomes a grace plot. So basically what this is going to allow you to do is, as long as you're logging in every day, doing enough stuff to get some money so you can purchase that, having 400 grace every month, you can keep a plot alive in your small build on that one plot alive indefinitely, as long as you're playing and earning enough grace every month to pay rent, basically. The new option is designed to give everyone a fair and sustainable way to secure land simply by playing, while allowing us to clean up unused plots, preventing the game worlds from filling with abandoned plots, and ensuring there are always space for new players. Now, a lot of people don't understand, and if you played early access, for any sort of extended period, you could run through a zone and not see a single person. You could type in chat, hey, how's everyone doing? And never hear a peep from anybody. And you'd go through and there'd be like half built plot or, structures or fully built structures that were just sitting empty. And it really was kind of depressing, at least in my, because, I want to see this game be a live, vivid kind of world and stuff. And you're kind of like, during early access, whenever there was points of no content, you were kind of like you were running through the apocalypse almost, and it was kind of depressing. Um, so, so they go on to explain the reason for not offering auto renew with grace is simply that, as an earned currency, many players also use grace for gameplay, such as the miracles, for gathering, for crafting, for porting to other places and stuff. And we have no guarantee of grace being available when it's time to renew a plot. As such, it would be misleading to offer the option to auto renew the plot. We're thus offering you the option to extend the plot for up to 2 months in advance, which will make it easy to secure your plot as you play. So it sounds like if you can get enough grace saved up, you can buy like 2 months of uh, a 2 month extension on your plot. So some notes they've added here. To make it easy for everyone to try it out, all existing players will receive 300 grace when we release the feature on the live shards. You need to have created at least one character to receive the grant. And then moving forward, all new players will also receive 100 grace from their first login. So they're just, it's just their way of padding, give you a little padding to start off with. And, because otherwise you come into the game with like, if you're a brand new player, you come in, it's like you log in the first time and you get 15 grace and you're like, can't do nothing with that. So, nice little gesture there. So, and they show kind of how things are going. You'll see that the plot is actually marked with a grace plot symbol with a little grace symbol right there. So, additionally, we plan to introduce the ability to purchase plot tokens individually in the game shop in the near future at a price of $4.99 per token. Some bundle offers will also be available, and we'll share the full pricing details and deployment date as soon as the feature is ready to release. These offers are designed for players who prefer not to commit to a subscription, as well as those who want to expand their domains significantly to share it with friends, clan members, or allies. And then this is the big thing here, and I think a lot of people, especially in the bigger clans, are looking forward to this, is the transfer plot ownership. So what happens a lot of times, or what I have seen during early access, is you get a clan together and you've got like, a dozen, 15 people, and they're all like, yeah, we're going to rock this game and we're going to play all the time and everything's cool and all this stuff. And they lay out this little clan village and they've got all their plots there. And then within a month, Bob's left because some other game has got a new expansion. He wants to go play that. And then he never comes back. And then Fred's gone, and then Wilma's gone. And the next thing you know, you've got what was once a nice, cool little town is now riddled with holes because those people have been gone long enough that the plot's been cleared. And what was once a cool little village is, just doesn't look, it looks like an incomplete jigsaw puzzle. So with this, basically what you'll be able to do is, hey, the game was fun, but it's time for me to move on. And you'll be able to, push your plot to somebody else. Or, if there's a falling out within the clan and some people decide to leave, you can hopefully, if it's not too horrible of a split up, split some stuff up and move folks around that way without totally destroying your little clan village and stuff. So some interesting stuff. We'll see how it all plays out. Apparently very soon. So from there we go to today's update, which is more stuff regarding verse 5. And these are this is not like the meat and potatoes of verse 5. This is more of the coleslaw and I wouldn't even call it banana pudding, but it's the side dish for verse 5. So let's hit some of this stuff, and you can tell that probably next week we're going to get some big news on verse 5, and should be exciting. So the first thing we're getting here is party members visible on the compass. So you got the compass at the top of your screen, and you can see like landmarks and things like that. Well, now your party members will show up as a little icon up there, which is pretty interesting. This one kind of caught me off guard. I really wasn't expecting them to add this. Adding gold round robin to party members by default. So I'm guessing now they just say gold. So it doesn't really say like loot and stuff. So, now whenever if you're running in a party and you kill something, it's free for all. Amacedia, our our policy when we're doing a clan run or a clan and friends run is we have master looters in every group, and that person is responsible for collecting everything. And at the end of the run, we split everything up. All the gold gets split, all the skins and metals and jewels and all that stuff gets spun out, and then sigils and stuff we do kind of a need before greed kind of system. If no one needs it, we have a little spin wheel website that we use, put everyone's name into it, put all the sigils on there, and everyone gets a chance at stuff. So at least that's how we do stuff. So I'm not sure how this is going to play into it. They do say that later they plan on adding some settings to it, which I guess we'll see how it all plays down. This is when they talk about this stuff, you got to remember that this stuff is they're giving you like a 30,000 foot view, and once we really get into it is when we'll dive down and really get into the details of everything. So I wouldn't sweat it too much just yet until we know more details. Don't go screaming the sky is falling and all that just yet, because we don't know what all is entailed here. This one is I thought this was one of the bigger changes right here. The weapon cooldown. So the 20-second cooldown only triggers when appropriate. And basically what that means is when you change weapon types. So if you're fighting with the mace, and this all stems from the whole PvP aspect of the game. People just be smacking stuff down with a two-handed sword, and then they bit off more than they can chew, and the guy that they're fighting starts kicking their butt. Well, they're gonna like split, run, swap over to like a sylvan staff, throw hots on themselves, get themselves back up part of the way, and then spin back around into the fight. That was the whole reason the 20-second cooldown was added, was to keep that kind of gameplay from happening, which I totally agree with. So what is going to happen now is if what has happened before with us is we'd be in a dungeon, right? And you're fighting, you got a big pack and you're fighting, and all of a sudden the tank wasn't paying attention and their mace breaks in the middle of the fight. And then they're like, oh, so they got to pull another mace out. Well, the way it is right now is they pull that other mace out, they got a 20-second cooldown. So no taunts, no stuns, no nothing. They're just swinging wildly and somebody going to die. So basically the way it's going to set up now is that, so if you swap from your mace to mace, no cooldown, you just keep on swinging. And they're adding that also to the bows, tools, and shields. This is actually really awesome, because what this does is allows the tank to use a bow to actually pull. And the bow actually does pretty decent aggro. So they get that initial pull, they can swap back to their, mason shield or sword and shield or their maul or whatever and have at it. But this will give them a nice way to make things work and stuff. So pretty happy with that. This is something people have asked for a while. Adding slash commands for switching chat channels. The bigger part here is the inviting and managing members of parties and clan. Like right now, the only way you can invite someone to your party or invite someone to a clan is you have to basically be standing on top of them, which really sucks, because like if you got somebody that's late to the dungeon run, they got to find you before you can get them into the party. With this now, you'll be able to like send a, party invite, get them into the party, and they'll be able to see where you are on the map and stuff, or in the compass, because that's going to be a new feature, right? Torches and lanterns should come back. So before verse 3, we had torches and lanterns that you could use, like whenever you were in like the wolf caves or even in the dungeons and stuff. And they were really handy. Apparently, Mainframe cut them out because of lighting effects, the shadows that were generated by these. The problem was is like you have like 10 people running into a dungeon, and all of them had lanterns or torches, and there was so much different light going on and everywhere. It was killing people's frame rates. So apparently they've come up with a way to fix this. So we'll see how that works. Let's see, making some crafting components slightly faster to craft at first and very fast to craft as you approach mastery. This is one of those things that we have needed from the get-go. This is a huge quality of life, especially for the crafters. You sit there and you make string or rough bands, or you're making nails or whatever, and it's just like, and 30 seconds later it's like, look, I got 20 bands. And even if you were the master of the of that recipe, 20 seconds later I got more bands. So it sounds like they're going to speed some of that stuff up to get people off the bench, which will be nice. And then let's see what we got next. Going along the crafting end of things, they're going to make plants larger so they can be easier spotted. I know people scream about strawberries and blueberries, trying to find those because they're so small. The cotton thing, Mainframe, if you want to fix the cotton thing, kill all the rain lilies. Those invasive little things are everywhere, and we could use a lot less of them and a lot more cotton. Just saying. I think rain lilies are almost in every biome. It sucks. So anyway, that's my opinion. So yeah, looks like we're going to get some changes to some of that stuff. Hopefully the red cabbage is one of those things. They changed the model on it back, I think, in verse 3. And it's a lot harder to see now because it only comes up in like the rocklands and the scrub, and it almost blends into the point where unless you're standing on top of it, you won't see it. Here's something that I thought, it looks good. We'll see what happens with it. Update all NPCs and animal loot tables, fixing a lot of loot drops and replacing old common drops. Also updates to high drops from skinning. You can tell when someone is like running like Inquisition towers or stuff like that, because you will find ginormous piles of extracts just laying everywhere, because the Inquisition, all they drop is gold, iron bars, and extracts. So I'm hoping they fix that, because that is and then the update to high drops from skinning. I'll be interested to see what they do with that. I don't know if they're planning on making it easier or what. This will be a nice quality of life. Hunter blessings to yield bonus raw materials such as antlers and wool. I mean, the deer got a huge buff. I think it was, I don't remember if it was release or if it was during sometime in verse 4. Because there for a long time, like deer might or might not drop an antler, like the stags. And then they like, oh, we're going to fix this. And the next thing you know, like the stags are dropping like 5 horns, and you're like, where is he keeping all those extra horns? So sounds like they're making some adjustments there. All you builders, here's some new stuff, new building pieces, decorations, and signs. I applaud all of these, especially the building pieces. I'm hoping we'll get something cool. I did see a thing today on the Discord. I know a lot of people have really wanted the 90-degree triangle pieces back that they took away. Doesn't sound like that's coming back anytime soon. They have said that because of the geometry of the shape, they feel like they would have to add a whole bunch of other pieces to go with that. And then, that's got to be done in like every flavor of material. So um, they're not sure. They would like to do it, but it might be a little bit. So the signs are welcome. Anybody that's played at to any degree and has started gathering your warehouse of materials, man, signs are like, you just can't do it without them, and there's not enough signs. So hopefully they're adding some more, because we have to like take signs and like combine signs to like, it's like we're almost writing in hieroglyph on our chests. So balancing XP modifiers of recipes to encourage crafters to craft a variety of recipes when leveling. You know, what it comes down to is a lot of times people look and go, what can I craft that has the least amount of materials that's going to give me the most XP? And that's how people wind up with like 300 like van braces in their yard and stuff. So sounds like we're going to get some changes to that. Maybe they'll make some of the pieces that, at one point they had talked about if a piece required a lot more components, that the XP on that piece of gear would be significantly larger. I'm hoping they'll expand on that and actually make it enough to be noticeable. Because right now it's not. I'm planning on doing an update to all mining and wood cutting yields. I think this is probably in response to the amount of people we have in the game right now. I know Bronier, where we're at, it's full, and there are people running around constantly, and we're having to go outside of Bronier to get basic materials and stuff like our impure iron, flax, rye, barley, mainly because a lot of people have built on top of stuff. So we've lost those nodes, and then you throw in the additional population. It's just, we're having to go outside of the valleys to get stuff. So I'm expecting that's why that is coming. Combat balance passes for equipment, spells, and NPC encounters. I'm sure that some of this is they're looking at the fights. If you look back at the robe, the Alb of Reflection, that piece of gear has been modified significantly since it first came out. I mean, originally you could like solo like skull bosses and they'd like wham and die from the spell basically reflecting off, and they'd one shot themselves. And that has basically fallen all the way back to now. There's no reflection. It just stops the damage and you get healed for what you would have taken and stuff. So a lot of that is probably, coming through. We're probably going to see a lot of combat balance passes for the foreseeable future. With verse 5 coming, with the focus being on PvP, there's going to be a lot of data there. A lot of people are going to be complaining about things. Hey, this piece of gear is overpowered and yada, yada, yada. So expect to see pieces to kind of slide up and down on the scale of whether or not they're desirable or useful and stuff for a while, so they can get some of that stuff more balanced. Even more so probably once we finally get to the point where we have like offensive spell casting as well. That's going to make a big change. And then the ability to repair equipment at multiple crafting benches. This one's got me a little flummoxed. I'm not really sure what's going to happen there. I mean, I could see maybe you could repair your weapon and armor at like a blacksmithing table. I mean, I'm not really sure about the other pieces of gear and stuff, how they're planning on doing that. Maybe they're going to make the staves, like the healing staves, repairable at a weaponsmith's table, since it's made at the alchemy table, but you have to have a weaponsmith skill to do it. So uh, I'm not sure. Again, this is kind of at 30,000 feet, so who knows what all this is actually going to entail. So, and then they follow this up with all this should be part of the upcoming content updates and be in game before the end of the year. The list is obviously not exhaustive. More details will be shared at a later date. Um, this part right here makes me feel like they're going to follow up and they're going to do. I know Coloco said that we were going to get one patch before verse 5. I feel like that patch it could be one of these balance passes, and maybe some additional bug fixes and stuff that we're going to get. Maybe some of this other stuff, possibly. Then I think we'll get verse 5 part 1, and that's going to probably be a big chunk of stuff. And then I think after that, we'll probably see a part 2, probably within, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks after the first part falls. So I feel like we'll probably get a part 1 in November and a part 2 in December, before the end of the year rolls around. So, and then from there, we'll be working on verse 6, which will be some more information, and some more cool stuff that'll be coming down the road. So that's it. That's the news for the week so far. I don't expect us to see anything else since it's Friday. I do expect us to see more information from verse 5. They typically like to do an overview and then break down the pieces. So expect to see a lot of posts over the next week or two from Mainframe on what's coming with verse 5 and more detailed information. That's typically how they do their stuff. So with that, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy this kind of stuff. I know this is not my normal content. If you're new to my channel, but this is something I kind of like doing, is getting everyone informed on what's coming, and talking about it a little bit. So be on the lookout for some more original content coming, probably some construction stuff and maybe some more crafting tips and stuff coming soon. So with that, if you like and subscribe, please. I really appreciate it. You guys are an awesome bunch. I feel so lucky to have grown as rapidly as I have. And you guys always come up with some really good questions and some good praise, and I really appreciate that. So if you got questions about anything, feel free to drop them in the comments. I'll do my best to answer it. If I can't find an answer, I will find someone who can answer it for you. At least that's my goal. So anyway, I hope you have a great weekend. Enjoy it, play the game, have some fun, and be nice.